For days now, there have been some documents making rounds in the social media. A Gazette from the National Records Center, Office of the Head of Service of the Federation, signed by the Director of National Records. The Records Office appears to be distancing itself from a certain document. Let me quote a text from the Director of Records. I wish to confirm that the said Gazette did not emanate from this office. Gazette for 5th May 2022 is still at author's proof state and has not been printed. A copy is attached. What do you make of this? And if you don't mind situating this in context, Chief.
You see, Nigeria as a whole, but limiting myself to my state, Delta, we are toying with the lives of generations yet unborn. Using the word of one great jurist, when he heard the outcome of the fact that a judge refused to admit that piece of evidence, and the judge publicly asked a question as soon as he came in, and I quote, "I have read this your application all night, and show me, this is alien, show me where your authority is coming from and where you are standing." For a judge who had read the application all night and the authorities that are cited, I'm a bit confused as to where that question is coming from. Very simple. This candidate of PDP is known all over the world to be a misnomer, to be somebody who is not qualified at all to vie for an office, talk less of that, not even a local government, but talk of that of a governor. The whole world. And the whole world is laughing at the circumstances that have surrounded it. And in any case, being much an illiterate, it touts the fact that it's the money of Delta State that we suffer, and that's where we are, that's where we've gone to. So for a judge to see that he does not know and that that piece of document is alien, I don't know, alien, I still don't understand it, because number one, before the judge, when he had asked a great man, Matu SN, to say, show me where you are coming from, Matu SN said, look, Arigbeshola versus Oyinola is a classical. In a very similar situation, the tribunal at the lower court, just like this one, rejected the document for purposes of rather understanding and what have you, rejected. But when they got to the Court of Appeal, which decision has not been turned down by anybody or by any court in Nigeria, the document was admitted. The conditions for it was that, is it a certified document? This document was certified. Is it a public document? This document was a public document. Now, how do you manage such scandal? How do you manage such embarrassment that a man who says he wants to rule is forged all these papers which everybody know, and has been buying himself justice, everybody knows across the country, even children in primary school are aware. Now, went further now to forge the Gazette of the federal government of Nigeria in 2002. So all those forgeries that we're talking about that went to the Supreme Court and all of that has nothing to do and did not see this document that has become a public document. It was never there. But because of our depth of experience and what we know to do, we have unearthed the document. So everything this man had gotten in the Supreme Court hitherto is gone with the wind. Because this is a new forgery, and this time a forgery against the federal government. Now, you know, a man who is petty, a criminal, will always leave a trace. And for those of us who have no any other profession other than profession of securing life and property and, as it were, intelligence, we will always look for that trace. Now look at what happened. The man forged the Gazette. He took anything called Gazette from anywhere, tried to obliterate it, faded it, and attached his photograph. And superimpose the fact that all the forgeries that he's been known for and all of that, he has corrected it by virtue of the Gazette of the federal government of Nigeria, which would have been okay by law, but he forged it. Now, once we have closed our case, we didn't leave, we're still pushing, but we have not adopted our briefs. And there are plethora of cases that point to the fact that the case can be reopened for us to put, because in any case, that's what we call substantial justice. We're not looking for technicality. We're trying to get to the root of issues. What have we done? We wrote a letter to the head of service of the federal government of Nigeria under the presidency to say, we'd like you to confirm the veracity, the authenticity of this Gazette. We didn't ask for any other thing. And very funny, they wrote back. As soon as they saw the so-called Gazette, they said, first time, this is fake Gazette. It cannot be anything else. Because number one, Gazette, since inception of the independence of Nigeria, do not come with photographs. So this one that is coming with a photograph is obviously forged on the sighting of it. So we waited patiently. They set up a committee, as we later were to know, to go and find out the veracity of that Gazette. And they came back to say, number one, Nigeria as a country has not produced Gazette or did not produce any Gazette, federal government Gazette, in the year 2002. They said they did not produce any. So for anybody to tout or have any Gazette, it is certainly forged. And they committed it into writing. Number one, that this Gazette did not emanate from our office. The only office charged with the responsibility in Nigeria to produce that Gazette. So it did not emanate from our office. So what did we do? We were only trying to make His Lordship, the chairman of the panel, to see and have more information at his disposal to do justice to the case before him. Anyway, with greatest respect to this profession, and the only profession I think I respect today, which is the legal profession, he exercised his discretion. It's a discretionary thing at the end of the day. I mean, yours is to make your case or present your case. You don't know what is in the heart of the judge. It's the judge that decides what he wants to do. But quite interestingly, we were standing on two legs. If you see the case of Arigbeshola and Onyilola, the lower tribunal, just like this our tribunal, threw away the papers. But at the appellate court, at the court of appeal, it was clear. Onyilola and Arigbeshola, it says, you cannot shut out this document coming from the police. It's a public document belonging to the federal government of Nigeria. So on that basis, that decision was taken, and that decision has not been upturned. So in Nigeria today is the standing decision that a public document, for instance, such as the Gazette coming from the federal government of Nigeria, the letter coming from the federal government of Nigeria, this Gazette is forged, it's not from us, suffices. So if leg one, which is the discretion of the judge at the lower court, is not comfortable with it, leg two, there's no way anybody will say that. There's no way anybody will say that. So we are quite very happy that the greatest achievement we did was that that document now forms part of the records. If the judge wants to look at it as part of his paper that is with him already, at arriving at his decision, very well and good. But if he doesn't, well and good. But what we are saying is that we believe very strongly in the document. That was why we did what we did. And then we went on two legs. We got one leg. The other leg is for the judge to look at. And in any case, the federal government did not only write that letter, they attached all the Gazette for 2001 and 2002, stroke part of 2003 that is likely to be produced, attached it, and they were all certified that, not apart from the fact that this Gazette is fake, that is not emanating from us, they say what we have, which we have not produced in 2001, 2002, and part of 2003, find here with attached, and they sent it. So nobody can, and those documents are not part of public record. Everybody, you can go and look for it, everybody can go and look for it. So we are not angry, we are not upset, we are not unhappy at all. We are very happy that the entire proceedings at the lower tribunal has ended. We are waiting to see the outcome as it has to do with those three great jurists that sat over the petitions we wrote. We believe very strongly our petition is strongly footed, and we don't have any doubt that those documents speaks for itself.
I'm going to ask your views on setting expectations, but before then, for the benefit of some of us who are lay people, you are a lawyer and a criminologist. What is the ramifications of forgery of this dimension?
First and foremost, that forgery is very dangerous. Apart from the fact that he has now climaxed his forgery by going to forge the Gazette of the federal government. We're going to forge the Gazette of the federal government, all to cover. You see, the whole purpose was that that Gazette, which was a peephole, was to cover all of this fake name, fake age declaration, fake certificate. That Gazette was to clean it up for him, coming from the federal government. But he knew that he couldn't pass through with that Gazette, so he had to forge it again. So that now completely obliterate what the Supreme Court has done, because this is not part of the consideration of the Supreme Court in the first place. That completely obliterate any argument anybody is putting forward between you and I. apart from being a forgery, which of course carry, I'll research the current criminal code, how many years imprisonment. He equally attests to it as a true document and swore an oath to it, which is perjurious. So if you ask me, God again is in support and is putting all of this together to liberate Delta State. There's no way, there's no escape route. The fact is that this final forgery, apart from all the other ones, is a classical. You can't hide it. And in any case, not with somebody like me involved. It's not hideable.